Aina and her boyfriend Rizal decided to spend their anniversary at a remote hotel in Genting, Highlands, drawn by its promise of cool mountain air and breathtaking views. The hotel was perched on the misty peaks, its towering structure half hidden in the swirling fog. As they checked in, the concierge handed them the key to room 713 in the oldest wing of the hotel. "This room has history," the concierge said with an odd smile, but Rizal, ever the prankster, merely grinned. "Sounds like the perfect place to test our courage," he joked, earning a playful nudge from Aina. Room 713 was as elegant as advertised, with antique furnishings and a stunning view of the jungle-covered hills below. The hotel was modern, but this wing had an eerie old-world charm. As they settled in, Rizal couldn't resist teasing Aina with ghost stories, referencing the famous legends. He spoke of the restless spirits said to roam the mountains, including the tale of a woman who had jumped to her death from the hotel's highest floor after losing everything at the nearby casino. Aina, familiar with the legend, shivered but laughed it off, brushing aside Rizal's theatrics. The first night in the room, strange things began to happen. Aina heard whispers outside their door and saw fleeting shadows in the hallway. Rizal, always ready for a laugh, pretended to be the culprit, sneaking up behind Aina to startle her and even scribbling "she's here" on the bathroom mirror in the steam. Aina scolded him for being childish, but deep down she felt uneasy. The stories of the haunted mountains seemed too close, too real in this place. Rizal, noticing her discomfort, assured her it was all in good fun, but Aina couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. Late that night, Aina woke to the sound of soft sobbing. At first, she thought it was Rizal playing another prank, but when she reached for him, his side of the bed was empty. The sobbing grew louder, echoing from the bathroom. Aina hesitated, then slowly opened the door. The lights flickered, and in the mirror she saw a woman's face, pale with sunken eyes staring back at her. Aina screamed, stumbling back as the figure disappeared. Moments later, Rizal came rushing in, his expression serious for the first time. "I heard it too," he whispered, his voice trembling. Over the next day, the atmosphere in the room grew increasingly oppressive. The temperature dropped, and Aina felt an icy presence following her. She started seeing the woman's reflection in the mirror. Her sad eyes locked onto Aina's, as if pleading for help. Rizal, though still trying to brush it off as coincidence or imagination, couldn't deny the growing sense of dread. They researched the hotel's history and discovered the legend of the woman who had died there. A desperate soul who had lost her fortune at the casino and leapt from the 21st floor, cursing the hotel with her final breath. Room 713, they learned, was directly below the floor where she had fallen. That night, as a storm raged outside, the haunting reached its peak. The power flickered and the room was plunged into darkness. The woman's sobs echoed through the walls, louder and more anguished than before. Rizal's usual bravado was gone, replaced by genuine fear. The sobbing turned to screams, and Aina saw the shadowy figure of the woman standing at the window, gazing down at the abyss below. Suddenly, the figure turned and rushed towards Aina, her eyes filled with despair. The room spun as Aina felt herself being pulled toward the window, cursed spirit trying to drag her down to the same fate. Rizal, snapping out of his shock, grabbed Aina just in time, pulling her away from the window as the ghostly figure vanished into the mist. They stumbled out of the room, the door slamming shut behind them with a force that shook the walls. They fled down the dark hallways, the ghosts' anguished cries still echoing in their ears. The hotel staff found them in the lobby, pale and shaking, and quickly moved them to another room far from the cursed wing. The concierge, avoiding their questions, simply said, "Some rooms should be left alone." The next morning, Aina and Rizal packed their bags in silence, their nerves frayed by the night's events. As they checked out, the concierge offered them a forced smile, slipping a small talisman into Aina's hand, a charm said to ward off spirits. "For protection," he murmured, before turning away. They left the misty peaks fading into the distance behind them, but even as they descended the mountain, the legend of the cursed woman lingered in their minds. Rizal, once the playful prankster, held Aina's hand tightly, his bravado shattered. They would never speak of what happened in room 713 again, but the memory of the quiet room would haunt them forever, a reminder that some places should never be disturbed.